Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brown and Browner. We're getting into the end days of summer here into August, and we've got a few things on our mind, including we've got the NFL starting up all their preseason and the Hall of Fame game over this past weekend. We've got the WNBA and everything that's going on there and the circus that is. We've got golf with their playoffs starting in the next 3 weeks, basically. And then, of course, we got a little bit of NBA news to kick off the year here a little bit.
And we got very little summer left, so hopefully we can enjoy that. Not that we don't love football and looking forward to it, but it also means the end of summer and the idea for everybody mid-continent to east to start looking out for those 40-degree weather temperatures versus 70, 80 degrees.
Getting a little crispy.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that word. You step outside, it's crisp. No, crisp usually is something good. Bacon is fucking crisp. You know, the air is not crisp. It's fucking cold. That's what it is. Chilly.
Exactly. On that note, a quick note about the NBA. So the NBA just launched out their opening games schedule, if you will. And, of course, we've got the drama that is LeBron James, still continuing drama. And he opens the season with his 76ers, which is an odd thing to say, against the defending champion New York Knickerbockers. And, what better way to kick off the season, of course, but can we please drop the LeBron drama?
just let's stop. You know what? Yeah. And if you do decide to retire LeBron, let everybody know up front so we can just get it over with instead of holding everybody hostage at the end of each season to make yourself be like the most talked about person besides Jerry Jones.
Yes, sir.
So let's just stop that. And another thing, can't wait until Philly fails, because it's one thing to have a lot of seasoning and flavor and everything, but not everything goes together in the same pot. And I can tell you right now, Jaylen Brown did not leave Boston thinking that he was going to be. Yeah, he's not thinking that he's going to be second fiddle. He was complaining that he actually said, when I was the man and we didn't win, it was better than when I wasn't the man.
Yeah. See, like you've got what I would consider to be 4 or 5 alphas on that team that are more what I would call James Harden-esque, meaning they've got to have the ball and
have the ball.
I don't think you got a point on that team. They're supposedly saying LeBron's going to play point. I'm like,
hell no.
Play point?
Hell no. Think about that. So you got who? Okay, so you got Jaylen Brown who wants the ball, right?
Paul George wants the ball.
You've got Tyrese Maxey, who, quite frankly, is really good with the ball.
He is, but again, he's one of those guys. He's a slash scorer. He's not that guy that's going to handle the point kind of thing. You know what I mean? He's that guy that you use to do all the dirty work as a slasher.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but what I do feel like is he's effective in that role, and he was scoring 30, 40 points a night.
Absolutely.
Embiid can't play a full season. Matter of fact, since he whined his way into an MVP that one year because what has he done? How many seasons has he played? Over 60 games.
Forget 60, his whole lifetime. I would imagine in youth sports, he was probably sitting there like, oh man, this guy is the weakest ass player. And yeah, everybody counts him up as like, oh, generational talent physically. I'm like, dude, if you can't last a year, you're not a generational talent. You're Mr. Glass. You're going to be broken all day. You don't matter to me. I'm not going to remember you 20 years from now.
Hey, perfect example, and I don't know if it's perfect, but Sam Bowie got picked above Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody know who Sam Bowie is? Is he in the record books anywhere? Did he do anything?
It's our generation. I don't see it happening.
Ralph Sampson. See, the killer part is he's actually a really good player.
He's a damn good player. Absolutely.
But there are two things that get me. One is his heart.
Yep.
He has no heart. He doesn't play through injury. Everything hurts him. That part. And the second thing that I'll never forget is when he cried like a 5-year-old when they lost to Toronto, the ball that bounced around the rim and went in.
Yep.
He went through and I'm watching it with my wife, and he wasn't, like sometimes, how you get a mad cry, like a tear come out your eyes because you're just so mad? Get that. Sometimes you get a sad cry. Somebody passed away, get that. But when you're playing a sport and you walk off the court and you sound like this, that's what a 5-year-old does when they cry. That's pathetic. And I'll just never forget that. And I never forgive him for being such a fucking wuss at that time.
I'm gonna give you
lose like a man, win like a man.
I'm going to give you a fun equivalent of what he reminds me of. Antoine Walker.
Oh, remember him?
Bad as that comparison when I'm having to dig that deep on a guy.
And another guy with all sorts of talent coming out of Kentucky. He's from Chicago. Actually got robbed on Roosevelt Road trying to walk around with like 18 watches in the ghetto. He thought he was being protected,
he had to somehow afford his 17 kids. It is what it is.
Yeah. But again, so how is LeBron putting him in the, and again, for me, I'm not chasing championships.
Yeah.
Bull crap.
Bullcrap,
because you would have gone to Cleveland, which probably was a better option for you anyway.
Honestly, I think had he gone to Cleveland and they retained the pieces that they had with Darius Garland and all those boys, I think he's got a better shot at a ship over there, honestly.
And he could be the man.
Drama.
Well, and he could be the man.
And you just asked for the biggest magnifier in sports, which is Philly media, in my opinion.
That's exactly right. They're going to eat him up if they start poorly or they have a run of bad games.
They've already eaten up a championship Eagles team, if you think about it.
Yeah, they're not even good enough. After they won a championship, they were basically telling them that they sucked.
You were calling for Sirianni's firing, Jalen Hurts benching, AJ Brown out of town. I mean, all sorts of shit.
So what are they going to do to the Sixers? And I just feel like, again, a big part of team sport is chemistry.
Yep.
And if you're in a team sport and you have a team, you just said it, a bunch of alpha dogs, there's one ball.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, somebody's going to be whining or pouting that they're not getting the ball. Embiid will definitely be one of those. So what are you going to do with that?
Yeah. Well, and as we've said before here, with any of LeBron's championships that he's won, other than maybe the Cleveland title, but again, that one was just weird in its own right. He never was the A1 on those teams.
No,
ever.
No, never. Dwayne Wade owned the Heat. He did not own the Heat. When he was at Cleveland, he owned Cleveland, but it was because he was there and he came straight to Cleveland. I feel like if Kyrie didn't play the way he played.
Kyrie didn't play the way he did. It's not happening. Absolutely.
No, it's not happening. What did he do with the Lakers? He
got the Asterisk championship.
What's
that? If Dellavedova doesn't show up, he doesn't get it.
I just feel like, especially at this point of his career, he's talking about legacy. What are you going to remember LeBron? Okay, he wants to play point guard, which means he won't be required to shoot as much. At least in my mind, that's what I think of. A real point guard is the guy who's distributing the ball. So now he can't be blamed for missing the last shot or not taking the last shot because he's afraid, because he knows he's going to miss the last shot. If I'm Jaylen Brown, if I'm Tyrese Maxey, I'm going to look at this like I just ascended to my position in an NBA. I earned this right, and now you're just giving it to him because he's LeBron James.
Yep. So now, like I said, it'll fun drama to start the NBA in its own right. The only way you could spice that up more is somehow you had, I don't know, the Caitlin Clark crossing over the NBA or something. I don't know, whatever. Craziness like that.
I would sort of like to watch that.
I would. I mean, I think it'd be kind of fun. Now, how about the reverse of that with what's going on in the WNBA, of course?
And I thought that was a good segue into this. Enos is too close to penis for him to be in the women's league. I'm sorry, Enos, you got a penis and you should not be playing with women.
Well, and I'm going to follow the same words, and this is the guy I hate the most in the media, only because of different reasons, and it's Bob Costas, but I think he put it the right way. Unfortunately, this is the one thing I probably agree with him in anything that's sport, other than maybe a few, baseball smatterings. He said it best. There is a reason, historically, and even now, that we have always had men's and women's sports. We're going to respect the fact that people have the opportunity and the right to be anything they want to be, whether that's trans or anything of that sort. We support all of that and everybody else's freedom in that
100%.
sense.
That's what freedom's supposed to be about.
To sport, we have seen this, where if a person crosses over, and particularly it's been a man who transitions into a woman and then plays in women's sports, it is an unfair and distinct advantage. The only time that this has ever worked out in the history of all time is Billie Jean King playing Bobby Riggs. But what was Bobby Riggs' rank?
I was about to say Bobby Riggs. She wasn't playing the top player at that time.
We're digging deep here. And that's not going to work. And that's not the example anybody can live by when it comes to this policy. At the end of the day, I support calling out, and I don't want the WNBA to be a target for this, because honestly, the Olympics is an even worse offender. You and I have spoken about this. You have the Olympic boxer that went trans and literally beat the snot out of all the women.
Beating everybody up. It was clearly seen that there was a distinct physical advantage there.
Yep. So no, to that point, I don't think it should be allowed. And you've seen what's happening in France with the guy that's trying to get a Julia or whatever his name is, or Julie.
Oh
He
yeah,
beats the shit out of people in the Euro leagues and the French league. It's an unfair and distinct advantage. You put Enes Kanter and Royce White in, you might be seeing 40 games. I'm not going to kid you. It's not like
especially given his height, it's not like he's 4
It's
foot
a height.
5 trying
It's
to
a
be
height for power. It's
yeah,
a
height
for
and
power.
strength.
Yeah.
You know,
So this dude can box out Asia Wilson. That's a problem.
and exactly, because she's the most dominant player in the WNBA right now, more than Brittany Griner was when she was at her height. So this is the thing that I see, and I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, there is a distinct, and it's not. This is science, baby.
Exactly.
Men just have a distinct advantage from a muscularity and physical standpoint. So that would be unfair. And look at this. Even in golf,
Yep.
guys can hit it farther for the most part. Tennis,
Yep.
guys can hit it faster for the most part. Now, if you told me that they were doing this for ping pong, I think I'd be okay with that. Bowling, I'd be okay with that.
Sure.
You know, but not where there is a distinct advantage. Baseball, basketball, what was I going to say? Hockey, anything that requires physical prowess, you're giving the man an automatic advantage because he physically just will be. Even if he did the exact same thing a woman would do, he's going to be stronger. He's going to be faster every time.
I'm going to give you a selfish comparison. I was 17 growing up. I played competitive tennis, as I've mentioned here. Used to play against some of the top girls in the country. And by top girls, I mean top 1 or 2 number ones in the country playing on our high school team. And we'd play against each other in the summers just to have fun and everything else. And we would play to win. I mean, there is no letting up. These girls are ranked number 1 and number 2 and number 10 in the country growing up. I'm not ranked anything better than maybe 100 in my section, which is the entire South. Did I ever lose a match in 32 matches against the girls in our team? No, never.
Probably
not once.
They're not used to seeing the ball come to them that fast. They're
Exactly.
not used to having somebody move them around the court in the same manner with the same pace constantly throughout the match.
And again, by no means am I a national level player. I was a sectional level player and a Division I athlete, and that's it. Like, there was not much to me. I'm not going pro. And if I'm able to knock off the folks that are going into those levels on the female side, you can tell there is a disparity in the physicality of tennis, golf, and everything else you just mentioned in skill sports where physicality matters, essentially. Swimming, look at the whole difference there.
Yeah, but I just think it's just common sense. Come on, let's be real about this. I get people's rights.
Yep.
I've been a victim of not having those rights, and you probably have been a victim as well.
Absolutely.
So we get that. But the rights of a few should not supersede the rights of the many. Yep. And what I mean by that, it's specifically from a sporting standpoint, is just because you want to be a transgender athlete, and I have nothing against transgender people. I'm not Dave Chappelle. I'm all about that. Shake your hand, give you a hug, all good for you. I want you to be the best you can be. Yep. However, if I'm giving your right to be transgender, I'm now extending that for you to play sports against women.
I call it
where are their rights?
Yeah, exactly. Now you've discriminated the other way. It's a reverse Uno card in that sense. And that's where I think the only happy medium here, at least from my view, is you create a distinct category for it. And that's where you create a competitive basis in a third category. If it's male, female, and transgender, so be it. You know, you're gonna have to accommodate that schedule-wise and anything else in sports-wise, because you cannot mix the two at this point in time in many professional sports or even the Olympics. Because like we've said, there is a distinct difference at the end of the day.
Here's the argument I have. Why aren't they just playing in the men's league?
And that's where I have to applaud Bob Costas for this. So the swimmer that was swimming, I believe, at Penn, was transgender.
Yep.
That guy was swimming male swimming. He was no better than the 400th ranked swimmer in the country on the male side. All of a sudden, you throw him into the women's game, and he's the top swimmer in the women's side in Division I. So that tells you right there that I think there was a little bit of motivation, like, hey, how do I get my profile up? Well, I'm going to go play against, the kids. Okay, well, I'm going to go play against 5-year-olds. What is that?
I was going to say.
You're opening up a snowball here, basically.
Why don't I just go ahead and play against teenagers, or even less than that, because the teenagers have actually some athletic ability. I don't have anymore. But again, if anything, the rights should be here.
Yep.
I want to play in the pro league, but I don't want to be ostracized. I don't want to be constantly the focus of every conversation be around my transgender, desire to be transgender. It should be about my desire to play the sport. And if you qualify for that, then hey, you know what? Let's give a unisex bathroom or whatever it is, so that we can accommodate that if they feel uncomfortable with it. I'm cool with that.
I mean,
but you can't just go play women and say that that's fair. You should still be playing with men.
You just said the key word, accommodate. If you think about everything that we've thought about in terms of, disparity and inequality and things of that nature, how we discriminate, essentially, age, race, gender bias, all that good stuff, right? What have we done to fix it? We've accommodated.
Yes.
We integrate where we can.
Right.
But we've accommodated everything. We've got, handy-capable bathrooms. We've got, gender affirming, everything else that you could possibly think, we have accommodated. So I think in the same sense, you follow the same principle when it comes to sport. You accommodate it. So what do? You create a category for transgender. Let anybody participate. That's called willingness and inclusion, in my opinion. You create a category that says, here's transgender categories. Go for it,
But there's not enough people to support it.
Because everybody wants it their 1% way, and not the majority.
Exactly. And that's what I mean about infringing on everybody else's right to satisfy the few. Not that I think they should be ignored, but there are certain things that we just cannot accommodate, and this is one of them. You cannot go play women and call yourself a transgender athlete and have a physical advantage, but you can't play with the men because you don't qualify, because you don't have this athletic prowess to do it. So something's wrong there. This is not a default. Let me go somewhere else and find a way where I could be great. It's,
I put this back to participation culture, honestly. I'll back it all the way up further, and I don't want to try to convulse the two, but at the end of the day, because you can't make it in one arena, you try to look for the easy route to make it in another. I'm sorry, but the world doesn't work that way.
No.
I don't care what you're talking about, sport or non-sport, the world doesn't work that way.
Hey, you know what? If you really want to do something like that, rather than go to the WNBA, go to some other country and play in their league. Go to Russia and play in their league. Go play somewhere else and play in their league.
I can tell you
money. Yeah, but I can tell you they probably wouldn't even allow it because many of those countries don't have the same sort of freedom of thought. So that wouldn't even be a possibility.
We lose what we've got here, and we've got an openness and freedom in this country that other places they do not. I mean, you can't go do this in Russia. You can't go do this in China. You can't go do this in a lot of places.
So again, I just think that we have our priorities in the wrong. We have our priorities in the wrong order.
Yep.
I want you to be the person you are. I want to support transgender or any gender.
You want to be. That is the freedom that we are predicated on in this country. Do you want how you want, and everything else.
Yeah, because that doesn't infringe upon my rights.
Yep.
So I have no right to tell you what you need to do sexually or whatever. That's your right. I'm cool with that. But what's not your right is to now take that thought and your, perspective that's this compared to the world and tell me that I need to change the entire world of sports to accommodate that.
Here's the other example that Bob Costas threw in his interview. This was like a CNN interview that he did a while back. You can pull it up on YouTube anytime you guys want. Would you ever take the WNBA All-Stars and play them against the NBA All-Stars in a game?
I mean,
not for exhibition. I'm talking legit game.
Oh, no. For exhibition, sure, I'd love to watch it. For a direct game, what do you think is going to happen?
You're going to call for, like, I don't know, what's it called? Brutality?
Slaughter rule?
Murder?
Hey, you know what? Let's spot them 50 and see if we can beat them. Because
they put Voigt on their face after they dunk on them. It wouldn't be fair.
Well, and that's the perfect example. Talk about a guy, and especially in his canter and his stature, he can dunk on everybody constantly. How is that fair to any woman that when the highlight of a woman's career, if regardless of what they've done in the sport, from an NBA standpoint, a WNBA standpoint, was when Brittany Griner dunked, when Candace Parker dunked. That was spectacular because it hadn't been done before. Now you let guys in or transgender people in, they all can dunk, and you can't.
And now you've taken away the hopes and dreams and special things that could happen with the women's game in general and for young girls coming up. Like, what does that say, essentially?
Well, right. And how about all of these people who have worked very hard to get to that level.
Or that level. Think about
And
it.
somebody else is taking that spot
Yep.
because of their being transgendered. That
Yep.
is unfair.
Yep.
Period.
Yep. No. So no, I think we've got a good spot on that where we kind of stand, and honestly, what we think is fair, more fair for the general populace in that sense. It to me, I mean, people have thrown around the word common sense and stuff like that. I mean, nothing is common sense anymore in the world.
Not anymore.
It takes explanation, and it takes reasoning, it takes a debate, it takes dialogue, and that's what we've always advocated here. So at the end of the day, as long as everybody's having that dialogue to understand the rationale and coming to a consensus, I'm all for it. I'm hoping that's what happens with all of this stuff that's going on, especially now the pressure's on the WNBA, league office, basically. You've opened up your Pandora's box in terms of how your rules were written and who qualifies for your league. Well, guess what? People have found the loophole, and they're going to expose it now with Cantor and Royce White and all these guys. And frankly, I support their cause in how they're doing it, because they're calling out the atrocity of it, right? They're not doing it for their own gain. They're doing it, and maybe they are, but if they're calling out what the problem is in sport, and this is where we have to draw the line. And maybe this is our watershed moment in sports, where we say, hey, keep things, women and men in every fashion, but maybe open the door to a transgender population just for their own division or whatever it is, Olympics or otherwise, basically.
I don't think that's what's wrong with sport. I think sport is right in clearly defining men and women when we talk about groups. I think where we're wrong in is thinking that, okay, we have a subpopulation who need to be addressed. Create your own league for them.
Yeah.
Don't change the rules of the leagues that were already established. Don't get me wrong. We've changed rules to accommodate things.
Sure.
But that isn't one of the ways that you accommodate that. I'm sorry, that is just not right. Because every woman that sat there and worked their ass off and put up with a lot of stuff just to get to that point is now being robbed, because somebody else could come in and all of a sudden steal their shine, because the WNBA could seriously say, yes, let's do it. You know why? Think about the ratings. Think about the money that they would make. But again, you would be taking away. Hey, I do not agree with the idea that Caitlin Clark isn't helping the NBA. She is. She's the Tiger Woods of the NBA, because now they're getting bigger salaries. Now they're getting all of this stuff.
They're getting everything that they've asked for over the number of years that it took to struggle to get it. And yes, okay, did it take I hate to say a white
girl?
Yeah, and that's a stereotype here.
That's America, though. Let's be real about it.
That's America.
There's always the great white hope. You never heard of a great black hope?
No, and that's
they don't say great black hope, because that's not
exactly.
a thing.
I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, there's a light-skinned girl named Candace Parker that made just as much of an influence on the WNBA, but because she was black, I hate to say there was a
that's
ceiling.
Just keeping it real. That's just keeping it real.
Yeah, that's just keeping it real. Exactly. But at the end of the day, this has all been positive for every single women's basketball player in the world, in my opinion, and they should never knock it. I mean, I get that now she becomes a punching bag for targets for the shine that she gets, meaning Caitlin Clark, but people need to realize, like, this is a transcendent moment in women's basketball. And it's not that you treat this person any special. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm saying you call it like it is, and you do it like it is, but you also don't attack this person.
Well, you shouldn't attack the person. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when Dennis Rodman ill-fated comments about Larry Bird. And then Isaiah followed those, supporting his teammate. And then they got all over Isaiah, because from Rodman just stupid and silly. Isaiah, you're supposed to be this guy. And how could you say that about a contemporary that's at your level or better? And the thing is, they weren't wrong. They might not have said it in the right way, and public doesn't want to hear it, just like the public doesn't want to believe that America is still racially divided and prejudiced and misogynistic and all those things. Those things still exist. I think our president sort of shows it. But it's the whole idea that, come on, let's be real about these things. Let's acknowledge that you talked about it. Let's talk about these things, and let's be open about what the truth really is. I mean, if a black person plays spectacular, they're supposed to, because we're genetically this and that. And Jimmy the Greek actually said everything what he said was true about how they bred slaves to get the biggest slave that could do this. And what happened to him? He got fired on the spot, because nobody wants to hear that, because that's a black eye on America.
Well,
even though it's the truth.
And I call it a societal problem right now where we aren't willing or allowing to speak freely in that sense. And yeah, some things are going to be racially insensitive, discriminatory, but you know what? That's history. That's real.
That's real.
And those people, as long as they're not saying with malice, which I don't think they are, they're just keeping it real. Why aren't we having that dialogue at the end of the day?
You know why we're not having that dialogue? Just the same reason why they're trying to get rid of education.
No, 100%.
They're trying. One of the things that I loved when I went to Austria with my wife is this. They had a temple in the middle of Vienna, downtown, where they had guards still protecting it because it wasn't burnt during the war. And they protect that, and they teach in their schools what actually happened. You know why? Because they don't want it to ever happen again. If you just sweep things under the rug, how do you expect us to get rid of prejudice or misogynistic ways or all of the other bad things that are black eyes on America? Why can't we get rid of that? Because we don't acknowledge it and we don't teach against it. We just push it under the rug because we're not bad. You know what? I'm beautiful every day. I put my makeup on and that's how I'm supposed to look. Well, what about when the makeup's not on?
Yep. I like my son's still younger and they haven't fully appreciated like the civil rights there and stuff like that. They've got touched on it and stuff like that. But unless you're sitting there telling me about the Tuskegee Airmen, eugenics, negative genetics, and weeding out the crop, that shit was real.
That was real. That was real.
Don't hide that from me.
Well, and just to say something that I'm just going to keep it real on this show, and again, people take it for what they want. We had a president that freed slaves.
Yep.
And against it wasn't popular at that time. People think, oh yeah, well no, it wasn't popular. People on his own cabinet were like, no, you should not do this. But he did it. And part of that Emancipation Proclamation was that we treated you badly, and what we are supposed to do as a government is to repay you with reparations so that you have an opportunity to do the same things you were doing as a slave and make the money that the people who were owning you made.
Sure. Yep.
And that never happened.
Nope.
And now it's too late. It's like the friend that owes you a couple $100, but then after 10 years, they're like, no, I don't owe you. I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
No, I remember, motherfucker. See, it's right here. I even had you sign it.
Yeah. See, here's I'm gonna sign it. And guess what? There's 10% interest.
Yeah. So it's just like, again, we'll never grow into the greatness that America could and should be because we don't want to acknowledge truths. Exactly. We want to hide them, and we still have the whole idea of I get capitalism, and there's nothing wrong with getting what you're worth, but at the same time I could never step on somebody to get there. That's not how I am. And I don't take away from people. I want to add the tide that rises rises all ships, right? All ships rise with that tide.
You attribute that to good upbringing, so thank your mom and dad.
Yeah, thank you, mama. but that's the problem. We're willing to cut each other or stab each other in the back to make a buck. We're willing to raise the prices of food unnecessarily so we can continue to make the profit. Instead of making $1 million this year, I need to make $3 million this year.
Think about what just happened. I mean, not to get all political, but oil companies just posted record profits. Literally.
That's the same oil company that went to Congress and basically said, we have to make this kind of money.
Yeah. Yep.
Why? Why do you have to make billions of dollars? Can't you just make 1 billion? Do you need to make billions each quarter?
It's the premise of, I think I've joked about this on this forum, and I think I've joked about it with you. I'm like, if I ever win the lottery, which will never happen, give me 5 million. I'm going to share the rest. I don't give a damn. And I've made it clear here. I don't need anything. What I can buy for 5 million, I don't need 25 million for it. I don't.
You really don't. I mean, I don't know how I would be. I think one of the things, I definitely am a charitable giving person. I'd have to do something on my own because I don't trust people anymore. I wouldn't go through an organization. Yeah. But you're right. If you think about it, if you had $5 or $10 million and you just had that somewhere and you lived off the interest of it, you never lose the principal, and you have enough money to live.
What can you do with 30 million that you can't do with 5? Seriously.
Well, it's the definition of opulence, right?
Exactly.
That's what that is.
And that's self-vanity versus need. See, my kids understand need and want really well nowadays, so it's good.
Mm-hmm. That's totally true, though, because I don't need to buy this little thing of chocolate that costs $2,500 because it doesn't even make sense that it's $2,500 because it has a gold leaf on it. But I'm going to buy it because I can.
Yep.
And it gives me the stature and status.
Yep.
So people look at me and think that I'm better than I am. I'm more of a person.
You're doing it for your own vanity and for some weird social standing that nobody cares about at the end of the day. I'm sorry, but when you pass, what is going to be remembered of you? But think about that. That's that thought in my mind. Anytime you're doing something, what are you going to be remembered for? Is it going to be remembered for your generosity, kindness, and everything else, or are you just going to be remembered for your own vanity? It is what it is.
Well, what's your legacy? What's your legacy? It's great that you can drive around in a fancy car and you can look fancy and go to fancy places, but you're so far from the realness of life and reality that most of us live in.
Get back to the basics.
I don't know if that's what I want. Don't get me wrong. If I was a billionaire, I would love being on a yacht and not have to worry about paying bills and all of those other things. But you know what I'd also worry about? And this is what my mom taught me, and I think you as well and others. I should be giving back to the world that I was born into so that I make it a better place for the people behind me, my kids, their kids, etc. But if we just suck the life out of it, like what we're doing with Mother Earth, if we suck all of the life out of Mother Earth, sooner or later, we'll have another catastrophic event that'll wipe out the whole, human race.
Yep.
That's what we're doing from just our community. We're sucking the life out of our community as human beings. And sooner or later, there's going to be a little bit here and a lot down here. And the only way that's going to change is, you know what that is, revolt and rebellion and war. That's what happens.
Yep. On that note, I'll mention this. If I do happen to win the lottery one day, and I just only want my $5 million and the rest can go to wherever it needs to, the only other thing I could possibly do with the rest of that money for my own selfish reasons and then give it away as a free opportunity for others to play on it would be to build a golf course. And that's it. I would build a golf course and let it be a publicly accessible place, free rounds. You just sign up and play, everything else, no restrictions. That would be my giveaway to society. But on that note, the PGA has their playoffs coming up.
You know what? I like that, and I like that idea, but you know what I would do? I'd do probably the opposite of what most golf courses do. It would be public, but there'd be a restriction.
Sure.
I would have have records that would help me determine who's lower income, who's middle income, who's high income. And I would make it accessible for those.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'd make it accessible for those people who can't afford to go play golf down the street, can't go over there, can't do this. I would have various different sets of golf clubs, so you don't even need to buy a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
So you come in, I'm going to give you
just come there.
You
just come there. We got you covered. You don't have to worry about expense because I would have enough to make that happen. Exactly. Okay, if it costs me $1 million a year for upkeep and all of that, I got the money. I can do that.
Yep, 100% agree.
But like you said, the PGA Tour is a coming. The FedEx Cup, is it still called the FedEx Cup?
Yes, it is.
I know the Schwab Cup is for the seniors, and then you got
it's the FedEx Cup still.
Yep. So the FedEx Cup is coming, and we were talking about this before this went online. Scotty Scheffler is number 1 in the rankings. How many times did he win this year? How many times did he finish second? No, he finished second, maybe a handful.
He finished second or third.
Second or third.
Yeah.
But explain to me how the system is set up where, and don't get me wrong, the guy is clearly the number 1 player, overall.
Top 10 every week. There's no question.
But I'm talking about this year, period. How is it that he's number 1 and he hasn't won a tournament? Granted, there might not have been a guy who won 2 tournaments or more this year, but if there is, that's a travesty. Because if I win 2 tournaments and you win 0, I got to be ranked higher than you.
Yeah, you got to question the point system because you would think the winner would have enough points from all these other tournaments, and not just the majors, but even the other tournaments where there would be a standing ladder of like, okay, here's a guy that consistently finishes 5 through 8, which is what Scotty is basically. Right. No matter what, every week it's 5 through 8.
Sure.
Even with the guys doing fluctuation, hey, 1 week I win, the next week I'm finishing top 30, whatever. The points you get as a 1 in any tournament should elevate you beyond measure as a top 4 at the end of the year.
I mean, if one is supposed to double, let's say that one, like when you pay out something, like if you do a pool, it's 70, 20, 10, right? Well, if 70% of the points available were going to number 1, they would be clearly more valuable. And if I don't even finish in a tournament, that one victory should give me better than 2 for 5th place finishes.
Exactly.
It should.
Exactly.
So something's wrong there. And don't get me wrong, Scotty deserves being number 1.
We're not knocking Scotty. Yeah, we're not knocking Scotty or anything. We're just knocking the fact that the point system's a little disparate. Because here's the problem with the FedEx Cup: as they go into these 3 weeks, basically between the 3 tournaments, you accumulate your scores, and it's a rally scoring system. So you get that that advantage when you walk into
Right
Atlanta.
away.
And
Right
Eastwood.
away. Yes.
And, like there was been years, I think there was one year Scotty walked in like a 14-shot lead. And I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell? Like,
Yeah, and it's been recent, and I actually don't like that because and don't get me wrong, I understand the accumulation and looking at the aggregate score and saying, hey, you know what? But if you're going into a tournament, the final tournament of the year, and this guy has like a 5-stroke advantage just because he's number one, something's wrong there.
Something's wrong there. I don't disagree, and that's the whole problem with that point system. And like we were mentioning this offline too. In tennis, there was a year we had Sampras, Agassi, Courier, all these guys winning all sorts of Grand Slams in tennis. But who's the world number one? Yavelny Kafelnikov. Yeah, I just said something gefilte fish, whatever. Yeah. This guy was a Russian player. And yeah, he finished, reasonably well. He got to finals, got to semifinals, just like Scotty, finished in the top 3, top 5 every single week. And he was the number one player for the entire freaking year. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even remember you unless I just said Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
Yeah, that's the only way. Like I don't think of him. He's not even like 100th on my list from a historical standpoint.
No.
Not even there.
There was years where I think Tomas Muster held the one for a considerable part there, except strictly a dirt baller. He won like 27 straight dirt ball championships.
Well, that's what it was. So he could play you on clay, but he couldn't play you anywhere else.
Exactly. So I mean, there are some fallacies, and they fixed the system after they saw that, and not just because they were trying to be discriminate against the guy that was doing well, but they needed to fix the system so the people at the top were rewarded the most, right? Like that's just the reality of how sports works. In Olympics, you get the gold medal. You're not given some piece of it. You're given the freaking gold medal.
That's right. And as a matter of fact, you're given the gold medal, and the silver and the bronze, most people don't remember who won.
It's a step down, exactly, and it is what it is. Ricky Bobby's dad said it best: if you're not first, you're last. I mean,
if you're not first, you're the best loser.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, there needs to be some tiering and some fixing, maybe in golf scoring going forward for the FedEx Cup. But I think it's gonna be fun and exciting because, like you said, we've seen a different winner every single week this year.
It's been
amazing. I think that makes for some good excitement walking into these golf playoffs now.
I want to see Koivu win. I would love to see a young guy. What's that?
That would be cool.
That would be cool. What has he played? Like 5 tournaments. He's already got one win. And I know as nice as people may say, be happy for you, you won. There are some guys who've played 168
they're frustrated
and not won. And here comes a guy who comes in within his 5th tournament, he's won. That's got to be frustrating as hell.
Yeah, but see again, hard work, determination. I'm all for young talent at the end of the day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's great to watch and it's great to see. And the guy's a contender, so it's going to be fun to watch. But no, stay tuned for golf the next 3 weeks. I think it's going to be very exciting. That said, the biggest news, of course, everywhere right now is the NFL, as we know. And we had the Hall of Fame, obviously kickoff. Shout out Adam Vinatieri for one of the best liners at a Hall of Fame speech ever. I don't know if he caught that bit about him, McAfee, and his wife, basically. So Adam Vinatieri, a special teams guy getting in the Hall of Fame is a very cool thing.
That's pretty good. Right? Yeah. Who was like Ray Guy maybe is the only other one, something like that.
So, thumbs up
and Devin Hester.
A great speech and everything else. And then he's like, the only guy holding more balls than my wife is Pat McAfee over here.
That's a good line.
That was like the liner of the
trick. That's a good line. Yeah. Go ahead, Adam.
Got to give it up to the guy, to say the least. But no, it was great to watch the speeches and stuff. Obviously, I thought the game was great. I don't know if you guys did on Thursday, but those 2 backup quarterbacks went at it.
That I have to say, they balled out.
Yes.
Guys were balling out that game. There were hits in that game. There was scoring. There was some strategy even towards the end. Got to give a lot of credit to
that guy put it on his back and he said, I want to win this game, that quarterback at the end. And, he that guy's a proven winner from when he was a kid. I think I read up on the story now for Carolina. He might find himself a little spot on the team here and there as a gadget guy.
So who all went into so I was just looking this up. So here's the Hall of Fame class.
Yeah.
They've got Kurt Warner.
Yep. That was last year. Wasn't it?
Oh, that was last year. So this newest member. Okay, here it is.
Brees.
Is it Drew Brees?
Yep.
I give him credit. Dude was
100%.
The dude, I think, put New Orleans on the map because they were one of the sorriest Aints. Remember the Aints and those teams, and he put them on the map, and he actually made them a
He put
perennial
that city on the map. He brought a Mardi Gras with him to the Hall of Fame. That was pretty cool.
And I love that. I love that about him. There was one comment that I really didn't like that he made that he sort of retracted, but he sort of, once it's out there, I don't care if you say I'm sorry. It sort of tells something about you.
Yeah.
But I think he deserves it. Roger Craig,
Yep.
that dude was probably one of the best
Yep.
running backs never to be mentioned in the best running back conversation ever. This guy was 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard pass catcher. You got to love how he made the 49ers that great back then.
Yep.
You had Larry Fitzgerald.
Yep.
Enough said. Larry Fitzgerald, classy individual, played
Yep.
for a long time. Unfortunately, he played for the Cardinals, which that'll get you. Yep. And Luke, you got to give Luke all the credit. He was a killer linebacker. What was that? Carolina
Panthers? A few years that he could play without having to suffer some of the health stuff that he had. That guy was a freak of nature.
Monster.
Yes.
So I give all of those guys, and then Adam Vinatieri too. Yep. I give all of those guys all of the credit. I think they all deserve it. Adam Vinatieri, probably one of the best, if not the best kicker of all time. Yep. New England have won Super Bowls off of his foot. Yep. Matter of fact, didn't he go to Indianapolis and do the same?
That's what I'm saying. He played with two of the greatest quarterbacks ever. If you think about it, he played with Peyton Manning and he played with Tom Brady. Like, how cool is that?
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And I love the fact that Dan Fouts gave Drew Brees a speech.
Yeah.
Ronnie Lott and Charles Haley talked about Roger Craig.
Yeah.
Randy Moss, if there's anybody who I have to say I turned 180 on him. He was a jerk when he was a player at times.
Yeah, cocky player, cocky guy, and he knew he was,
Yeah, but he was definitely, top level talent of all of the receivers. And I love my Lynn Swans and Stallworth and John Jefferson, these spectacular catches. Randy Moss was just head and shoulders above all of them.
Yeah, had Randy
except
Moss
Jerry Rice,
quarterback anywhere in his tenure, just like Larry Fitzgerald, just like Calvin Johnson. You're talking about some freaks of nature when it comes to the game.
and the fact that he's battling cancer and overcoming it. And I love you got Moss, and I just love the guy. Yep. Didn't like him as a player, love him once he stopped. Julius Peppers, wish he'd have done more in Chicago, but this guy was a monster.
Great. Yep.
And again, to be able to deliver a speech to a teammate, I think is great. And then the great Morton Anderson, who was a kicker, longtime kicker for the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Well,
as well
and Saints, and he's
and the Saints too. So give him all the credit. So kudos to those guys.
Yep.
You know what I'm looking really forward to? That first game was a hell of a game. What are we going to have for the rest of the preseason and then going into the regular season?
Because it finally kicks off into high gear with all the preseason games. The fact that it's only a 3-game preseason makes it more fun. So we get to see the starters a little bit more. I'm kind of excited. I want to start getting a little flavor for fantasy football, obviously selfishly, as we know. But at the same time, I'm ready for some football. I think we're geared up and teed up to have some fun this year. We've talked about some of the favorites division by division on what's there. We're already seeing some freakish injuries all over the league. The NFC South, every single team is in decimation mode right now. Where I think that even the Panthers are in fourth quarterback mode, and there's all sorts of teams that are. The Atlanta Falcons, we don't even know what's going on.
They don't even know who's going to be their quarterback.
Right? They're peeping people off the
Hey, is there another Kurt Warner? They're going into grocery stores looking at baggers. Hey, you play football?
Much, you know where they're going? They're going Home Depot because that's where Uncle Moneybags goes for his stuff. All right, if they're going to Home Depot, they're going to go find the latest guy that's selling hammers out there and try to go. But
you know what? There's something to be said about that, though, and I know you want to talk about it. I'll lead you into it.
Yep.
That's one division that's across all teams, but there's another division where one team is clearly doing something wrong, or something's happening that's causing 50% of their team, or at least 50% of their starters, if not more, are not even available to play.
Yep. Those 49ers. I don't even know what we could say. It's been 10 or 15 years of this, and they've changed medical staffs. They've got top-notch facilities, everything else out there. That electrical substation rumor might be real at this point because of how much freakish crap they're seeing on the field. It's just wild to think that you could have this many similar injuries with ACLs and everything else in one organization on one field. Similar to what people go through at the Meadowlands in New York, too, because of the field conditions there. The people have slipped and get injuries there, too, and tear stuff. There's something to it. And I almost go back to the same argument that's been coming up all summer long, where the NFL needs to adopt grass fields. And this came up during the World Cup, right? Where the World Cup forced all these stadiums change over to grass for the purposes of the game and everything else. So they abandoned their turf fields that we've been used to for football. And there's always been a complaint against turf fields. And now you're hearing it from the players too, and the players union in the NFL. Why can't we do the same? I get the cost. Obviously, there's a cost. But the NFL can afford that shit.
Exactly. I mean, for me, I get the cost, but this is what's wrong. We talked about, some of the things with capitalism. It shouldn't be about cost. If we're doing everything else in the sport about safety, shouldn't they be willing to pony up? I don't care if it's $1 billion because they're making that each year.
Exactly.
So pony it up.
It's not that hard to upkeep a grass field. I mean, we do it at the high school levels. We do it all these other places that have high budgets and things like that. And it's not about the money. It's about the purity of the game. And it's meant to play on grass. Simple as that. So they need to change the grass field. So that's one component, at least around the league. But what's happening with the 49ers is just freakishly weird. I can't even explain that one.
It's just the strangest thing. And we're not talking about backup.
The fact that you have Christian McCaffrey actually last a season out there is a pretty wild thing, honestly.
Well, listen to what here I'm going to read off some of what they have for August 10th, Christian McCaffrey. So that was just yesterday. They said he's got tightness, right? So they didn't really give full disclosure.
Yeah.
August 8th, Luke Gifford, who's a linebacker, Brett Toth, who's a guard. One's concussion, one's hamstring. Wednesday of last week, Sam Okuyunono, I don't even know how to pronounce that name, ankle. Jacob Cowing, hip. These are defensive tackle, wide receiver. Jusic, the fullback, number 44, he's got a finger, right? Use check, right?
Yep.
So now you got Kalen Black, running back, thigh. Mike Evans, who's always injured on what hurt him last year to be able to break Jerry Rice's 1,000-yard record was his injury. You got the Kamara. I wonder if Mikhail Kamara is related to the other Kamara in New Orleans. Right. He's got a knee. So there are various injuries. It's not like there's a consistent injury here. You got ankles, hips, knees, fingers, quadricep. You got groins. Another defensive end, Ricky Pearsall's out with a knee.
After the year again.
Yeah, he's going to be on injured reserve again. I mean, this is the guy who got shot, right? He just can't bribe break.
Yeah.
So some of these guys are on IR for the entire year. Kamara is one of them. Kittle is usually injured every year, right? He started this off. Bosa is injured. These are key players. How are they going to ever be able to overcome this? Christian Kirk, who they just got, is a cat. You got two receivers, some good receivers, Kirk and Evans. They're out. Who are you playing with? And how does Purdy look pretty?
Exactly.
If he's playing with some guys that he doesn't know, and then he's got to play with different guys who are just getting up to speed when the season starts.
I'll make a side comment, not about the injuries of the personnel and stuff like that, but what does it tell you about Brandon Ayuk if he's getting rejected by the Commanders?
I'm trying to figure out what's his deal, because honestly, he looked like he was going to could be the guy when he went to San Francisco. And he played on a couple of teams before that, and he's actually performed halfway decent. And then what? He just decided he didn't want to play anymore, but wanted to get paid?
Yeah. No, it like I said, he's in one of those Antonio Brown situation where his guys are getting exiled out of the league for all the wrong reasons. Actually, what the better example is? Le'Veon Bell. Where did Le'Veon Bell go?
Right. What happened to him?
Well, because he asked for that money. He asked for that back, right? And then all of a sudden, he gone.
Persona non grata. So, I mean, there are just certain things you need to do. And again, it's a privilege to play in the pros, because not only are you just playing a game, but you're also earning an income that's probably 100 times many other people's
a couple generations. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And for you to not cherish that and work hard to maintain that just eats me up.
Yeah, well, that's the sad truth. You have to be thankful for what you get. That's one of the things you've learned. I think society needs to go back and learn. Is the fact is you got to be thankful for what you've gotten in life, and you fight for what you want to get, obviously, but you got to be thankful for what you've gotten too. And I kind of teach that as the teachable moment out of COVID, if you will, right? You're thankful for what you got.
Well, and I think you should appreciate and be grateful. But you have to actually have that in you. If you feel entitled, and the sad part is many of these young athletes, whatever pro sport you want to pick, they've been coddled and nurtured in a certain way that sort of promotes this kind of attitude because they feel they deserve it just because they were blessed with talent. The ones who become great are the ones who realize that the talent is only part of the equation. There has to be a passion and a want and a desire and a commitment and all of those things that you need put you together to be that great person, a great athlete.
There's a message to players, coaches, and parents at the end of the day right there. You can have all the freakish talent in the world. If you haven't taught somebody to work for it, they're not going to be the great. They're not going to make it. It's as simple as that.
But they don't appreciate it. It's just a given, right? And it's like, you know what? I'm going to do half the job because it's like a very smart person who knows that they don't have to put in as much effort from a study standpoint, which is not a bad thing. But when it comes to physical talent, you have to be at your peak every time you're playing. And the way you do that is the repetition.
Yep, absolutely. But no, like I said, the NFL is going to be an exciting kickoff, I think, this week with all the preseason games kicking off this weekend. It'll be fun to watch. I believe it's Friday and Saturday that we'll get to watch those. Golf, like we said, is taken off, obviously, with their first first weekend of the 3 for the playoffs that's leading in for the FedEx Cup.
U.S. Open coming soon in a couple weeks near you.
That's right, and that's going to be another interesting one. We're going to see Venus and Serena again try to make a doubles effort. I think it's another one of those things where I don't think it's going to work out, but we'll talk about it as we approach it. I'm kind of hoping Serena doesn't try to do something foolish and play singles again because that didn't work out so hot, and frankly, it's going to tarnish what I think was still there.
Another one of those.
Yeah.
You got to know when to quit kind of moments. You proved your point. Your girls got to see you play professional tennis.
Yep.
Now stop, because there's a lot of pomp, but we're the ones who are ending up with the circumstance.
Exactly.
The circumstances are you're not playing anymore. You did all of this build up and you sucked. That's period.
Yep. So no, to that point, hopefully they can play doubles and do all that, but we'll see how that goes. So we'll definitely be talking about U.S. Open as it kicks off. Baseball's in the air, but we're not going to talk about it probably till next month, honestly, because we're still not at that point now. Did the Dodgers buy themselves a championship? Probably, because that's the reality. But you know what? I want all of this to happen in baseball so that it goes on strike because they need to reset all of that sport at this point.
They actually might go on strike. So
it's not might. I think they're going to.
Most likely going to happen.
Yeah, I don't see it not going to a strike at this point because of all that. They've got to put a cap in. It's as simple as that. And I get that it's going to impact how much money guys can make playing baseball, but the sad reality of it is you're not there to buy a sport or buy a championship, and that's what's happening with the Dodgers. As much as we like to say that there is pure talent there, which there is, it's the best players, but the best players aren't on one team.
They're all on one team. The fact that they got Scoble from Detroit,
the Tigers like this.
Ridiculous.
I mean, come on.
That's ridiculous. The wealth of riches go to the rich, and how does that?
Want to happen? And you're going to find this very controversial. I want the White Sox to win the championship this year. I don't want Jerry Reinsdorf or anybody to get success, but I want the White Sox to win the title this year.
I mean, I want Chicago to win, but quite frankly, of all the owners in multiple sports, Jerry Reinsdorf is by far the worst owner.
Oh,
he's already shown he doesn't care about winning. He just cares about the bottom line. The only one that he's not, in my opinion, that he, probably not as cheap as is the McCaskies, who actually have changed a little bit, over the last year or two. Yeah. But it's just, I don't want to see Reinsdorf, but I would love to see White Sox play. I would love to see the White Sox play Chicago Cubs.
Can you imagine
that? Would be awesome.
Can you imagine that, an intercity game just like they had in New York in '99? That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome. And we've waited for it, and it took 100 years for either one of them to actually win a title. But boy, that would be, talk about something that would live forever, just like the Mets playing the Yankees. It would be that.
Absolutely. I think that would be kind of fun to watch. And then, we're never going to see LA versus LA as far as I'm concerned. That's just a whole different. It's literally like the haves and have-nots over there. It's just funny to watch.
Can you explain something to me? Why is Mike Trout still on the Angels?
He's a loyalist. I mean, the guy. See, this is what I've liked about Mike Trout. Guys like Mike Trout don't come along very long in a generation, but they're kind of like the Megatrons of football. Right? Like the guy's going to be there for the period of the game. He's signed a 10-year contract. He's loyal to it. The guy's an amazing freak athlete, as we already know. That guy could hit for hit, go crazy. If he's happy in LA, so be it. But that's what he's going to have to live with for his legacy, right? He's going to know that he's played, 10, 15 great years of baseball, but never gotten anything to show for it at the end of the day when it comes to the sport, unfortunately.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer, and has he even made the playoffs?
No, not once.
That's horrible.
He never will. And unless he goes around as a mercenary, which honestly, he's probably had the opportunity in the phone call from the Dodgers, been like, hey, you want to come over for a year and get a ring?
I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah,
sure
I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that. And I give him credit with you to stick it out and everything. I just think it's a shame that, it's sort of like Myles Garrett.
Yep.
Myles Garrett was banished to Cleveland, and he by far was one of the best, if not the best defensive player for years.
Yeah.
And yet he's playing on a team that's like 5-11.
Yep. Now, people talk about the trade and stuff like that. I feel like the trade was evenly compensated. I mean, Cleveland got back a big haul, plus they got Jared Verse, which I think is a future talent. No question.
Verse is he's dangerous.
But the reality is it was sent to Cleveland and not somewhere else. And that's why people see it as skewed, because it's Cleveland. If it was sent to, say, anywhere else in the league, people have been like, yeah, it's a fair trade. Fine. One guy's getting his due and the other guy, and they're getting a haul for it. But because Cleveland's going to fuck it up,
they can't help but do that. We've seen that over what, 5 decades?
Yeah, at least. I mean, there's literally. I'm pretty sure I got to pull up like the most updated T-shirt that has all their quarterbacks over the last 30 years.
Yeah,
it's out of space now. It's out of space now.
And one of the best that they've had was Bernie Kosar back in the day.
Vinny,
Brian Sipes.
They had Vinny
Testaverde, sure did. Yeah. But then after that, and hey, they had a Baker Mayfield that they didn't put enough trust in. And then Baker goes somewhere else and looks like he went to 3 different places and looked like and made teams win.
Let's talk about that one very briefly. Baker didn't get the long haul deal from the Bucks, so he's playing on a contract right now. You think the Bucks did him dirty there, and they're favoring, what I can't explain their coaching regime over there. Todd Bowles, I mean, I'm sorry, you inherited success. I hate to say, you have not built success in Tampa. So you've been given a lot of talent, Mike Evans, and everybody.
Tom Brady.
I think at this point you got to consider, okay, do you overhaul the front office and not Baker Mayfield and the rest of those boys? Because there's talent on the field.
I think there's talent. I'm not sure. Todd Bowles used to be a good coach, but I feel like at the same time he's more of a defensive coordinator.
Exactly. He's another guy that's suited to be a coordinator, not a head coach.
Could Tampa Bay win? I mean, they have one of the weakest divisions. So you should be able to make the playoffs every year. Is it all his fault? Is it the front office's fault? I think they've been plagued with injuries, especially given last couple of years between Mike Evans and forgetting his name, number 17. There are like 3 receivers that literally were out the whole time. They had to use their tight ends and their. So I think that some of that was just bad luck.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that they've had the talent to actually compete.
Yeah, between Godwin, Evans, and everybody else.
Godwin.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. But no, to me, Baker Mayfield, the guy that could be a perennial playoff team kind of quarterback. To me. If he's put in the right spot. But he's had to go through so many what I would call crappy teams, in his tenure. He's never been able to get to that limelight. You know where he would fit in just magically well, and it'd be just funny? Somehow if the Cowboys were to just, get off the whole Dak Schneid.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're paying a dude like $60 million a year.
I know they're paying him. They're paying him a Brinks tuck, basically.
It's not going to happen. You know what I have to say about Baker? And I wasn't sure when he came out of Oklahoma. I felt like he was overhyped just because he won the Heisman. He didn't have name one thing that he had that was really great. But you know what I do like about him? He reminds me of Jim McMahon.
Exactly.
That
he got that dog.
What did he have that was great? But he got that dog in him.
Yeah.
Dude will do whatever it is, run through a wall. And you know what that translates to is the people on offense will do that for him.
Yep.
So to me, he doesn't have to have the biggest arm, doesn't have to have the greatest legs. He just got to be a player. He is a player.
To me, it's kind of a modern comparison. To me, he's Jeff Garcia.
Oh, remember Jeff Garcia? He did some wonders in San Francisco and in Philadelphia too, right?
The guy was a gunslinger, and he kept T.O. happy. He kept all sorts of things going.
And that's hard to do, keeping T.O. happy. But I love my quarterback.
Did God's work. I mean, come on. It's wild. But no, that's what he equates me to. He's gonna be a great quarterback. He'll be that guy that can lead a locker room, all that. But he's just not gonna get that top level success unless he goes to a contender somewhere. At the end of the day. So
would agree. And the only way he can really go to a contender is if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah,
because there isn't a contender that doesn't have a good quarterback. I'm sorry.
I'll give you a dream scenario for him. Middle of the season comes along, Tampa's floundering. They're in the basement or they're under 500. Playoff team loses their quarterback somewhere in mid-season. Let's call it, I don't know. Let's call it the Broncos or something, whatever, somehow.
That would be devastating for the Broncos. Even though Bo is, if and Andy sometimes.
I mean, they're literally one injury away at any position from, being out of it, essentially, right? That's how fragile the Broncos are because they're young still, and I get that. And they're in tough division. You got the Chiefs, you got the Chargers, everything else. So it just takes that. There's a trade opportunity off a contract, obviously, for a playoff year for Mayfield right there. So maybe we'll see how it all works.
You know where I'll go with this? The Houston Texans. They are already wondering if Stroud is that guy, right?
Fit.
Especially after the debacle in the playoffs last year. Imagine if they got a gunslinging, hard-headed, I'm going to win mentality kind of quarterback like Baker Mayfield, who's shown that he can play in the playoffs. With
that coach and that team, I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
I'd like to watch that.
Yeah,
I'd like to have Baker get his just due.
Yeah,
probably mostly because I just feel sorry for all the players who get, and I'll use this word intentionally, banished to Cleveland.
Yep.
Whether you're picked in the draft or you end up in the trade there, Verse is going to have to deal with that. He's a great player, but you said it. It was Cleveland.
Yep.
And Cleveland, historically, the only thing that was good, that became good about Cleveland, who left when didn't Art Modell?
He moved the Ravens. He moved
the Ravens.
Yeah.
They became the organization that Cleveland always wanted.
Look at the culture. Look at the culture here in Baltimore. It's an established winning culture. And it wasn't until this year they made they finally flipped the switch and they, said, okay, it's time. Let's get off the Harbaugh schneid and everything else. I think they're in for an exciting year this year with Minter personally. And it's called local bias, but this team's looking pretty freaking good considering all the level of talent they got. Now, they've always been historically, they get to the playoffs, something happens and they always falter. That's what they've got to overcome. But I think this team's going to be electric to watch, honestly, all season.
I don't know, but is Andrew still there? Because somebody needs to get, because I'm sorry, I feel like
he dropped that ball.
He was one of the premier tight ends.
Yeah.
And then when he missed that ball in the playoffs, it seemed like I don't remember him from last year. What happened to him?
No, that's fair. I mean, they got him. Lamar hasn't been used well, and sometimes he's injured and all that stuff. And Lamar sometimes, honestly, gets too much credit. He needs to earn his keep again, in my opinion, a little bit.
I think so too. You can't live off MVPs from yesteryear. You need to be an MVP.
The man's a freak of nature.
Are you listening? Embiid, are you listening?
Embiid. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't have a receiving core that's top flight other than Andrews. So really, that's the struggle with the Ravens. But that defense is elite.
If they play and they're not giving too many 3 and outs where they're constantly on the field. And here's the thing that I was surprised with. Isaiah Likely's
awesome.
Likely looked like he was going to be one of those next
tight ends.
This
year, mark my words, for all you fantasy owners out there. Look out. They're going to be playing 2 tight end sets. It's going to look dirty and fun with Andrews this way and Likely this way. And remember,
Likely's not on there anymore.
Sorry, he got moved. Yeah, sorry, he got moved. You're right. Shoot, I forgot about that. They brought in another tight end. They drafted another tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, but drafting a tight end, Isaiah was big. He could catch the ball. Just having him go was surprising to me, given that the receiving core is sort of mediocre at best.
Sorry, I'm reading some controversy about the Little League Baseball. Apparently, a team was granted an injunction. Yeah.
Well, so here's the funny part about that. Maybe we close on this. Yeah. There was a kid on, I guess it's Tulsa, something like that. And apparently they're saying he should have been ineligible.
Yep.
Remember all of the stories back in the day?
Danny Almonte.
There you go. You remember that?
And I'll equate this to the whole transgender thing again, because again, you're having a kid that's 13, 14, and 15 playing with the 12-year-olds.
You see that commercial? I forget the guy's name, but it's a funny comedic kind of actor. and he goes on the field, and he's on the little league field, and he gets up to bat, and the guy's like, "Are you something?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he, it's like, "Come on, man, come on." Like, is it? See now, and I get it, because if you think about old school baseball,
Yeah.
one of the sayings, the old school sayings about baseball is, if you're not trying to cheat, you're not trying to win.
Right.
That's some bullshit.
It is. It is.
Period.
Well, and I hate to say it, but this is going on at youth sports in every level too, where kids are getting held back and crap like that, just so they can be more elite at whatever level it is. And it's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, because all you're doing is cheating your player, and frankly, it's going to affect their mental acumen in the sport. Because if they know they've been held back just to succeed at some level artificially, then guess what? They're never going to have the prowess, wherewithal, or anything to overcome things at the pro level, if they happen to make it somewhere around there. We've seen this historically. What person do you know that's cheated the system by age or anything else has ever been at a top flight level? No one.
No. And the killer part about it is, you said it about cheating yourself, but like, how do you become great? Let's go back to that discussion real quick. You become great by playing people better than you and learning how to beat them.
You play up.
You don't play people who are less than you.
The kids that I know that have played up are the ones that made it, and made it meaning they're playing the D1 sports, they're playing pro, they're playing everything else that comes with life. But it's the ones that are playing up, not the ones that are bringing them back down in any sense.
That's it. That, to me, it's like, why would I want to play when I know I can beat you?
Yep.
That doesn't satisfy my competitive urge.
Yep.
My competitive urge is to beat somebody that I'm not sure I can beat, or is on the level that I am. Or I play golf with a guy. He's actually a little bit better than me, but I can beat him, and that makes me feel good. Beating the guy, another guy in our foursome who's going to shoot 90 or 100 doesn't make me feel good, because I'm supposed to win those games.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps you mediocre, in fact, is what that does.
Yeah, because I'm not playing up to my talent.
Exactly.
Plus, you never get to play in what defines greatness.
Yep.
It's when you're able to be in the most pressure-packed situation and give it your best, and
next to you.
best level.
Yep.
You'll never get that because you're never under pressure.
Yep. What I call it's being too soft.
Hey, did you say Embiid? Oh,
yeah. No, yeah. That's what I said. That's a Swahili word. No.
Hey, that's where we started. Embiid, you better get off and stop talking like this, and stop being a little baby, and you just better start playing like 60+ games if you want Philly to win. Otherwise, they should know.
They should eat him alive. They should eat him alive if it doesn't come and happen.
Headline: process is broken.
Oh, process has been broken. In fact, what I would love for to happen this year, and only because it happened because LeBron brought this to him, I want the Philly media to go ape shit on the 76ers. I'm talking call out every single thing that is wrong with the organization. Everything else, blow up every player, attack everybody personally, do whatever you want. Because you know what? It needs to happen in that organization to clean it up at the end of the day, and to clean the city up in terms of their own media. Because honestly, they unjustifiably attack the Eagles, in my opinion. But
100% agree. I think sometimes the fans don't realize and appreciate what it takes to be a winner. Yep. Philly went through all the trials and tribulations, and they finally won.
You got a winning culture for 10 years at the Eagles. Think about it. You got a winning culture starting way back in 16, 17, and all the way through now. And you can't live with that? You can't win a championship every 2 to 3 years? I mean, come on, people.
You should be in love with that and embrace it and support it. But that's just not Philly. That's just not how they are.
Programmed that way.
And you know what? I hope the Phillies win, because I like Kyle Schwarber. To me,
I like that whole team. I like that whole team.
Up to the Cubs.
Yeah.
I've always liked the Sixers because I was a Dr. J's fan when Dr. J came from the ABA over to the NBA. Yep. Loved him. Always wanted him to win. Finally got a championship with Mo. 4-5-4 Mo.
Yeah, right.
But it's just hard to root for Philly.
It is.
It just is.
Unless you're from there, you can't do it. It's just one of those things.
Fans don't appreciate it. And I think that's part of it, is that, even when they win, it's like the fans are jerks.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be like that.
Right. That's the unfortunate part.
And some fans, don't get me wrong, Philly. Yeah. Your fandom is also appreciated because you are passionate about it. But there's a line. And some of you cross the line.
I went to Boston a couple weeks ago, and it's the first time I've been there in quite some time. And I had to appreciate the fact that a lot of the sports venues and things that I went to in the bars and stuff like that, like there's a lot of homage obviously paid to the Patriots, the Red Sox, everybody out there, But that town keeps it real. I'm gonna have to say it's a good sports town. It's not Chicago to me.
No.
Chicago to me. But it is a good sports town that is rooted in a gold culture. Like they had their run, as we've seen. They had the Patriots, the Red Sox, everything that's happened, the Celtics, everything. But they keep it humble. They're not cocky like all these Phillies fans and stuff like that. They're not resentful jerks or anything like that, sort of like the Philly fans. They keep it real, and they know that it comes in time. It gets built, basically.
Yeah, but they've been fortunate to have us.
They've been ridiculously for. I mean, the 70s.
No, not the 70s. The 60s.
70s. Yeah, the 60s. Sorry, the 60s.
60s, they had Boston.
Yeah, 60s was everything. Then you had the 70s. Then in the 80s, you had success.
You got Bird. You got all of those guys.
Yeah.
You had the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
So it's not like they went with Phillies going.
No, between the four sports, they have gotten their share. There is no question.
Yeah. So I'm not crying for me. Don't cry for me, Argentina, because I'm not crying for Boston. And matter of fact, I don't even like Boston. So
exactly.
I was a Sixers fan growing up, so I really hated Boston because they kept Dr. J from getting anything.
Yep, so. Absolutely. But no. On that note, we will pick up next week. We'll try to the following week, actually, because I'll actually be out. But we'll pick up the following week, and we'll pick up with fantasy football up in high gear because we'll be through preseason 1 and preseason 2, and we'll be able to see some of the things that will come out of each of the teams, lineups, and all that. And we'll give some advice maybe on some what we would call fantasy strategery. Yes,
strategery. I love that word.
My President Bush does that. Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to be fun.
Yep.
We'll give some insight into what we're seeing with regards to some of the players. We'll talk about the injuries and how that might impact some of your teams and the way you're going to pick your roster. Yep. And you're going to be so happy to start the football season because there is no other sport in America better than football. And I don't mean soccer.
Yeah, it is time. To say the least.
You could take all of the sports and wrap them up. The 82-game seasons or the NHL, the NBA. You could take the 162 games in Major League Baseball. You guys need to change that. 162 games. You can put all of that together, and they don't equal a 17-game NFL season.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect amount of games, good scheduling. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Because guess what? What are you doing Sunday? Where are you watching the game Sunday?
Exactly. That's it.
162 games, you don't really care that much.
Bingo. On that note, we will be back. Stay tuned. Like I said, enjoy the sports this weekend. Enjoy summer because there's a little bit left, but there's some good weather and everything else to be had. There's a lot of stuff going on. We got BTS in town over here in Baltimore on a Monday and a Tuesday.
BTS.
Those people travel, let me tell you. That legion of Korean pop stars, oh my God. They're taking over every bar in this city. It's frightening. It's frightening.
I give them credit to be able to travel to admire and worship something that makes you feel great about it. I just don't know if BTS does that for me.
It doesn't do it for me. No.
It's not happening for me.
No.
But enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. Make sure you get it in because you only have one life to live. So make sure that you make the most of it and have no regrets. And not say that, but it's bull crap because you will have regrets. Yeah. But try to live life as if you're not sure you're going to have a life tomorrow.
Exactly. YOLO.
YOLO. That's it. Because what are you going to remember when you're 80 or 70 if you haven't lived anything to create those memories?
Yep, absolutely. On that note, be well. We will see you in a couple weeks.
Peace out.